Punk Revolution now. Today we are going to be talking about Earl Sweatshirt's debut mixtape, Earl. Because Earl, this mixtape right here, came out in 2010. It is a legendary, super important, it's just like an important piece of hip-hop history. It's a legendary mixtape, and I'm concerned that as time goes on, we get further away from 2010, further away from that era that it really flourished. I'm a little concerned that people are not going to really recognize this as to be as important of a mixtape that it is. If you go and rate your music, you can see that Earl has the least amount of ratings from any major Earl Sweatshirt album release. You can see it has by far the lowest rating. You might just look at this and think, okay, Earl was just a mixtape he released as his debut, just getting his feet wet, trying some stuff out. But then once Doris came out, that's when he really started growing as an artist. That is not true. That is not how it happened. Earl's debut mixtape, Earl, when that came out, that was widely regarded by alternative nerdy kids on the internet as the greatest Odd Future release, because at the time it was. It was amazing. Earl Sweatshirt was literally 15 years old when he was writing and rapping on this freaking album. He was 15 years old. You get this guy named Earl who comes up on this short little mixtape. Tyler, the creator, introduces him. They're all bullying him. They're being extremely abrasive and harassing him like a bunch of dicks. It sounds like a bunch of asshole 15-year-olds hanging out together, and it just sounds so crass and stupid. The beats are clipping and sound sloppy. And then Earl Sweatshirt, this 15-year-old, comes up to the mic, and then in the song Earl, he raps like he's freaking Nas from Illmatic. Like the rhymes, just don't listen to the lyrics for a second. Just listen to the rhymes. Listen to like bum ba ba da bum bum ba da ba da bum dum ba bum bum ba, like words after word after word after word that rhyme, like all these little rhymes that are so intricate in how they slip together, which is actually very similar to Nas's rhyming strategy on Illmatic, and it sounds freaking amazing. And it's extremely edgy, extremely violent, extremely homophobic, extremely misogynistic, like extremely. And it's like, how do you make sense of this? Like, this album literally sounds like you're hanging out with a bunch of kids bullying each other, and the beats are sloppy, and it's so just dumb. But the rapping is like incredible. Like, it's incredible rapping. It's incredible from a technical standpoint. It's incredible rapping. And the beats, even though they're sloppy, they go freaking hard. They're so like it's just like these synths coming through these amps that are so massive and so distorted and gross and dissonant sounding, with Earl rapping his little 15-year-old ass off with all these really clever rhymes, singing about some extremely gruesome stuff. Now, I want everyone to understand, hip-hop, since forever, has always had lots of fun, entertaining stories, going back to the 90s gangster rap with rappers singing about, them going over and killing someone, and killing an enemy of theirs. And it's fiction. It's just fun music. That's part of the fun music, okay? It's not good to kill people. It's a bad thing to do, okay? But we all know it's art. It's art. There's lots of movies where someone gets killed. It's art. Now, Earl Sweatshirt, 2010, different era. 15 years old, his brain is really not developed. He sees this and says, what if I do that, but go way further, with extremely, just disgusting lyrics. Disgusting lyrics involving violence, there's one song called E-Par, spell that backwards, and you'll see why that song is so bad. He goes really far with being extremely edgy and offensive. And as someone who was 15 years old at one point and around the same era, as someone who understands that art and hip-hop is full of fiction, it's like, I can cut him some slack. But going into 2022, someone who's never listened to this mixtape, they listen to it, they're gonna hear some extremely offensive stuff. And they're probably gonna put it down and be like, why would I listen to this offensive stuff when there's a lot of great rap that doesn't go that level. You have to understand, at the time, do you have any idea how freaking hilarious, just freaking hilarious it was? That there's this album that exists from this mysterious 15-year-old kid named Earl with just atrocious production, with atrocious lyrics, but literally some of the best rapping you have heard in decades. Like, that is hysterical. And it's catchy, it's fun, the beats are fun. It sounds, 15-year-olds when they get together, they're toxic. They bully each other, they just put each other down. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But it's such like a reality of being like a depressed, angsty 15-year-old. And Earl Sweatshirt managed to grab that and put that very specific vibe into his debut mixtape with amazing rapping, and it's very catchy. That is quite an achievement. And after Earl's debut mixtape, all the alternative kids who liked Odd Future, who kept their eye on indie music, saw this and went, whoa, holy crap, this is amazing. Earl Sweatshirt, believe it or not, he's actually the child of like two incredibly intelligent academics and artists, like a political theorist and like a poet and stuff. So he comes from like this intellectual background who got caught up in this hanging out with some bad kids, doing some drugs. So he's got this extremely, incredible, creative, powerful brain put into this extremely toxic environment, and Earl, the mixtape, is what comes out, and it's such an interesting piece of art. It is such an interesting piece of art. You have to look at it as art. You can't look at it as a indictment on Earl Sweatshirt's personality. It's a freaking piece of art. That is so weird. And then after he went to boarding school, after he released a mixtape, he went to boarding school, got in a lot of trouble with his mom for his bad behavior. Maybe the mixtape was a part of it. Maybe it was just him being on drugs. Either way, he went to boarding school in like some Polynesian island, Samoa. Like, I'm sorry, folks. I know that's like that way. I don't know where, I can't point to Samoa on the map. So the thought of Earl Sweatshirt going to Samoa, getting on boarding school, and then coming back, and then he's like super famous because his mixtape was blowing up online. People understood like, yo, this is good. This is back in the era of torrenting and everything. So people would actually just hand out music to each other. Like everyone listened to this amazing record and pirate it and don't listen to just what Spotify tells you. And Earl was the underground cool one. Like if you were a fan of Odd Future and you got other friends who were fans of Odd Future, which is a lot, you could be the cool friend like, oh, you like Tyler the Creator. Well, check out Earl, which is better. And by a 15-year-old. And you were the coolest person. It's a cool record to show friends. Now, not anymore. Now, if you show your friends Earl debut mixtape, they look at you like, what? He said the F word! I understand. It's totally cool to get offended by things that are offensive. I just want to make this video so everyone can just understand. Let's not throw this album in the trash. Let's not just hear the offensive lyrics and just say, let's pretend it didn't exist. Because that's, like, you gotta think of it from, like, a historical perspective. Like, you can go back in history and find extremely gruesome writings from European religious philosophers about wanting to torture people for being sinful. And that's so gross, but it's history. Earl Sweatshirt's debut mixtape is history. And then we were all waiting excited for Doris to come out, because we all loved his debut mixtape. We were excited for his debut album, Doris. That comes out. He shoots up to commercial success. Good for him. But the hardcore Earl fans were disappointed. Because it's like, you gotta be kidding me. He was so edgy and so vile and so rough around the edges. And now he's like, cleaned his act up a bit and he's like super commercially successful. And I know the whole world now sees Doris Onward as like just accelerating. But for me, the story really starts with Earl Sweatshirt's debut mixtape as his peak. And I say Earl Sweatshirt's debut mixtape is on par with some rap songs, and Earl's debut mixtape are the two classics he should be known for. Let's not erase it from history. I know some people are probably not gonna like this video because of how offensive the album is. Like, I'm defending a very offensive album. It's kind of punk to release an album. That's not, there's more to punk than being offensive, obviously. But just I'm sorry for defending this album, but I like it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm uploading videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Please subscribe. That helps my videos, as well as clicking like and as well as commenting. And if you really want to, you can click the bell notification, which also helps my channel a lot, too, for the algorithms. So thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Punk Revolution